Select Arcane. I live on a farm in the middle of nowhere, and it's great and all, but there is one thing that's pretty tough about it. And that's the lack of staff. Every day I have to wake up and do all the chores by myself, and it can get pretty dangerous sometimes. At the end of the day, it's a lot of work doing it all alone. So I thought I'd make some help, because I can't find anyone to work with me. Introducing the Native American doll from Casey's Galloping Gals. I don't think she has a name, but maybe she does and I just don't know. She's a gorgeous new sculpt with great hair, but her ankles are not very flexible, which is the reason why she's going to be my model for today. First I start with acetone to wipe off her factory paint with a Q-tip, and you can use nail polish remover, but it's not as effective. I really do recommend acetone. Next, I take a tissue with some soapy water and just wipe her face and let it dry. And then I bring out my witch's brew pot to boil her head in boiling water. That loosens all the glue so I can scrape her hair out of her head. And doll customizing is just so vicious because here I am using an X-Acto knife to slice open her head to access the inside. Yeesh, out of context that does not work out very well. Going through my hair selections, I'm using Viscose Hair by Viscose Heaven, which is absolutely amazing quality. And I'm going with dark hair because last time I used pink. And I have a lot of good options here, but I think I'm going to go with Raven. If you want to learn more about hairing and all of the basics of doll making, you can check out my Farah video from the Little Rider doll making challenge. I'm using tacky glue to glue down the wefts of the hair on a sandwich bag. And then I fully let them dry. So that takes about 2 hours or so. And I'm just sticking them inside the head, folding at opposite directions. Next, I take the tacky glue and I add it very generously but carefully on the sides of her head and press down the viscose hair. Only after that hair is dry do I wrap it in a cloth burrito around her head to keep the hair out of the way, and I secure it with sewing pins. This is going to protect the hair while I spray it generously in Mr. Super Clear. I know I tout the amazingness of Testor's Dull Coat, but for this type of project using vinyl, I absolutely do not recommend using Testor's Dull Coat, only use Mr. Super Clear. While her face is drying, I start on making her a pair of very, very janky pants. I'm using black pantyhose fabric, and it's not ideal, but it was as close as I could find. I got it at Value Village, actually. I'm not even going to bother showing you the process because, honestly, I'm a terrible sewer, so we'll just skip ahead. I'm also going to be recycling a Briar shirt from one of the Briar dolls, and these are those boots I was mentioning before. I got them from Cinny's Mini Mart, and they are the most amazing rubber boots for 1/9 scale dolls. Highly, highly recommend. I have all the colors. Assembling all the pieces, everything is fitting really well, except maybe one day I'll make a better pair of pants. But as I'm sliding her feet into the boots, I realized that because her ankles really don't bend the way I want, the feet just snap off. Which is fine, just between you and me, there's no foot in those boots. But otherwise they fit great, and it's like she actually has a foot in there because there's solid plastic inside. And now it's time for a face-up. I'm using watercolored pencils to sketch in a very basic outline of her eyebrows and eyes, just as a roadmap for what I want. I'm using a photo off screen as reference. It's of a lady who has a very similar bone structure to this doll, so I'm just rolling with that. And I know a lot of doll artists use acrylic paint for the face-ups, but ew, no thank you. I'm using gouache because it lies a lot flatter and it's a lot more forgiving, so I can just wipe it off if I don't like it. Once you seal it, it becomes waterproof and sticks in perfectly, just like acrylics anyways, so why not make your life easier? I struggled a bit with the watercolor pencil because it just wasn't sharp enough and I had to keep re-sketching her eye, and turns out that one eye is just slightly larger than the other on the sculpt, so had to compromise a little bit on that. I used gouache for the eye whites and the irises, and then I used the watercolor pencil for the lips and the eyeshadows. I'm also taking some of my Mungyo Soft pastels and taking a firmer brush to dust some rouge onto her cheeks. These pastels are extremely pigmented and hold on to the vinyl really well, and I highly recommend for dolls. And models, actually. There was a small blemish on her forehead, and I just rolled with it and dotted in my watercolor pencil to make a beauty mark. I also added an extra one under her eye, but maybe that was a bit overkill. Not sure, what do you think? After one more spray of Mr. Super Clear, I leave her face to dry, finish assembling her body and make sure everything is as it should be. I also added my farm logo onto her shirt, and because I thought it was just a bit boring and blank the way it was, and some of the knit is coming apart a little bit, so I thought that some straight up acrylic paint would help that situation. My farm colors are actually red, black, and white, so this really does feel like she works here. Not that I have a uniform or anything. And the last thing we need to do is style her hair. How should I go about this? Well, I think I want to leave it long, and I don't want to compromise on how beautifully long it actually is already, so I'm going to stick with a longer style, and unfortunately there's this glue blob in the back, and I think I smushed her head when I was still gluing the other side of her hair, so we have to hide that a little bit. I'm gonna go with a early 2000s, pull the front back and braid it into the back of her head, and I'm gonna tie it up with some red thread, and not bad if I do say so myself. I'm no hairstylist, but I think it's good enough. I very gently press her head onto her neck, and I'm trying so hard not to mess up her face at all or pull her hair. I don't know if it's just me, but she gives me these Kim Kardashian lip vibe. And with that, she's done. Introducing Nadine. She's a working mom who loves hanging out with her kids, but also loves to escape to the barn to do some groundwork and riding. I haven't quite figured out her whole backstory yet, but I'm sure she owns one of the horses in my collection. I think Nadine turned out pretty good, considering her hand-me-down shirt and her pants, but I think I like her. What do you think? I think Farah, our Fairy Key Rider doll, seems to appreciate having a new friend. I can't wait to make more dolls, especially since I have so many more bodies and so much viscose hair. If you like Nadine and like this video, please like and subscribe. If you want to follow me on Instagram, where you can vote on upcoming content or surveys, follow me at SelectArcane. I'll catch you next time. Bye!